thing I know about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Fin Nation? What is good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here with yet another one. I hope everyone is having a fantastic week thus far as we reach the ever so talked about hump day. Only a couple days away from reaching the weekend, so just tough it out, guys, if it's been a tough one so far. Other than that, it's been, somewhat a quiet week. There's actually a ton of stuff to talk about tonight that we got to siphon through. But it's been quite a quiet week as we're about 6 days away from the rookies reporting to training camp. We got a bunch to go over today. I want to take a look at, hey, that boy Tua putting in the work already. Okay, out there with Cedric Wilson, Lynn Bowden, Jalen Waddle, and even the fullback that we signed, Jordan Lovett, was out there too. Chase Edmonds as well. I got some clips from that. We'll show you all them putting in the work. On top of that, man, I got to give props to Louis Riddick. I'm probably going to get hit and with a copyright claim for this because I got two different segments, and they've been going hard on these segments lately for copyright claiming. I don't know if you guys saw one of Douglas' recent videos. He had to chop up his opinions because Fox was coming at him hard. If you guys remember that Jalen Waddle, It Needed to Be Said podcast reaction video I did last week, Fox Media put in a copyright claim for Jalen Waddle's podcast, and they don't own Jalen Waddle's podcast, and they put in a claim just because they talked about it on their show. So, I'm in a dispute right now with YouTube and Fox over that because I'm like, yo, here's the link of the video I used. It's owned by Tyreek Hill. Fox don't own nothing here. So everything's like in escrow for that video and such. It's crazy. So, if you're going to donate, knock yourself out tonight because we're gonna be getting hit with probably that demonetization. Either way, though, I want to go over what Louis Riddick said because Louis Riddick continuing to go to bat for Tua Tagovailoa, and he says a lot of good things. On top of that, I want to take a look at what Ryan Clark said. It came out in a Barry Jackson article yesterday. I'm not going to play the clip just because it's one less thing I got to worry about them maybe hitting, but it's in the article, the quote's in the article, and he kind of ripped into Tyreek a little bit with how he's been using his podcast. So we'll look at that for a little bit. And then The Athletic, they put out an article, and again, it's The Athletic, so it's behind a paywall. And Mark Schofield, Nate Tice, and Arif Hassan basically put together an article saying, can Tua Tagovailoa become an elite QB? We'll go over that. On top of that, an interesting article from Barry Jackson that dropped just a few hours ago about Sean Payton. And it says a lot of the things that I've been saying when I've been scoffing at these reports that we offered him $100 million. So we'll talk about that. An interesting little list of the top 12 outside boundaries that I forgot to get to last show, but I got it here anyways. That's a touchdown wire release. And then Mike McDaniel is getting his own show. So that's going to be awesome for all of you that are locally out there. I freaking envy all of y'all for being able to tune in. It's literally called the Coach Mike McDaniel Show, and I couldn't be more happy about that's honest, man. Few things here. 199 super sticker Diesel. Appreciate you, homie. Thank you very much. Good question here by what's up, Austin? What's up, Finn's Take with CB83. Throwing me off with your new name, CB. You really think Hill is putting pressure on Tua for saying he's on his last year? I don't. I think Tyreek putting pressure on himself. I think Tyreek shouldered the pressure already. I think Tyreek said, yo, hold up. Let me do this. And this is why I said I think Tyreek going to feast this year. This man, it's gotten to the point where he's out here. He's going to want to show. He's going to want to put up 1,400 to 1,500 yards just to show people, see, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the legit vibe that I'm getting here, that Tyreek means business. And I think he's putting pressure on himself more than Tua. Now, because everyone wants the clicks and everything, everyone's interpreting it and putting it on Tua. But really, Tyreek putting the pressure on himself. Since you go back to even before he had Tua on the show, right? From episode 1 on, he's put the pressure on himself as a leader on the field. I mean, look what he said in the. How many times has he said in each podcast episode? He literally says it every podcast episode. When you go on the field, the $30 million contract don't matter. The last play don't matter. I got to win every play now. All that stuff, that outside noise, none of that matters. So I think Tyreek putting more pressure on himself than anyone. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think him and Waddle are going to ball out. I said it before, I'll say it again. Waddle is better than T. Higgins, and everyone knows I love T. Higgins, right? And he's better than T. Higgins as a number 2, and he is going to be the best receiver that boy Tyreek Hill has ever played with. He's the most lethal, deadly weapon in the receiving core he's ever played with. Listen, it's one thing I say this all the time. One thing to play with burners and stuff, but when you're not good route runners, you don't have consistent hands, et cetera, dude. Mecole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, they are not Jalen Waddle. Sammy Watkins was the best, and I'm not talking about tight ends here, okay? So Kelsey, I'm talking about wide receivers, okay? Sammy Watkins was the best other option, and Watkins ain't no burner. You know what I mean? And then you look at Cedric Wilson, man. In a receiving core from 1 to 3, I might talk again, no tight ends are included here. Just in a wide receiving corpse, Cedric Wilson might also be the best number 3 Tyreek Hill's ever played with. Cedric Wilson and Jalen Waddle is the best combo he's played with. No one can tell me different. So even Tyreek Hill is going to benefit from what's around him. I keep telling everyone, everyone's sleeping on Jalen Waddle, blah, 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 blah. But don't sleep on that boy Tyreek. Maybe I might have undercounted him by only expecting 1,200 yards. I might have undersold Tyreek. Because I keep saying this. We are going to see a motivated football player. And when you are the most explosive athlete in all of football and you're motivated, and you're already motivated to be the best at your position, now you're motivated to show everyone, y'all must have forgot. Hit him with the Roy Jones Jr. You know what I'm saying? Like, a motivated Tyreek Hill is a scary individual, my friends. That is a scary, scary individual. So all these people want to discount him, and I keep telling y'all, don't think he ain't saying to Tua, man, they're thinking Mahomes made me. They're thinking my game's going to take a step back playing with you, man. We got to show them different, not just me. We. And Laura Rutledge said recently, and she said something to the effect of, because she's followed Tua since Alabama, and she said Tua doesn't respond well to when people are talking this way about him. And I don't know what she's talking about, because Tua been hearing this since he's at Alabama. Now it's just heightened because he's on the grandest stage of them all. So I'm telling you, man, you got a motivated Tyreek Hill, and all he's doing is sitting there and motivating Tua, saying, we got to get better. We got to be the dudes now. So, man, I'm hyped. And that's why I sit here and I say, 2,500 yards between Waddle and Hill. Is that really unreasonable to expect? You got Jalen Waddle when he was the focal point and targeted as much as he was, bracketed coverage. You know what I'm saying? Triangle coverage, box coverage. Just defense is collapsing as soon as he was open and the ball was in the air. Defense is just collapsing. I mean, when Martin, and Ballgame Contingency broke down the film last year, you would see how many tight windows, even on hitch routes, Tua was having to fit the football into. And it's like a freaking hitch route. We're not talking like a post route towards the sideline or a nicely covered deep out route towards the sideline, like an 8 to 12 yard out route. We're talking about 4 or 5 yard hitches. And defenses are just gobbling it up. They're just surrounding it. So I don't know, man. It's a scary thought as to what this team might actually be. Really, it is when you think about it. When you sit back and you look at, Tyreek Hill never played with guys around him like this, other than Kelsey's better than Gesicki, but I'm talking about receivers and stuff. The guy on the opposite boundary that's going to make it easier for him. And then you got, look at Cedric, Tyreek, Waddle. They all have versatility in the terms of they can be an X, Y, or Z. They can all fill those roles, right? I mean, the amount of different looks you can give based off just those three players is phenomenal, right? And yeah, none of those guys are going to be a 50-50 guy, but you can just put Gesicki up the seam. You know what I mean? You can put him in line if he becomes a better, more competent blocker, and you can get a 50-50 guy on the field by just inserting Gesicki at tight end. You know, and it's clearly obvious of why they've gone away from a DVP. Now they've kind of got I don't want to say a new version, but cut from the same prototypical cloth in terms of Eric Azukama compared to what Devontae was. But the thing with Eric Azukama is he offers you more after the catch. Figure that one out. A little bit slower than DVP, but he's just more explosive after the catch, right? Smart player in open field, takes good angles, et cetera, just accelerates well. Another guy where he's faster on tape than he is 40. And I don't mean he looks 4.4 on tape and he runs like a 4.6, okay? Shout out to James Steele. Reason I love your content. Do you think any secondary can actually shut down this pass offense other than ours if the O-line can give 2 or 3 seconds? Buddy, if the O-line is giving 2 or 3 seconds, what does that tell me they're doing in the run game? That tells me they are opening holes, okay? And brother, I've had private conversations with EM, Ball Game, Richmond Webb about this stuff. Neil Driscoll. What are we going to say? The Chargers in the AFC might have a secondary. You look at it and it's like, I don't know, man. Because the other thing too is you got to have good, you're going to have good linebackers too, where we got Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert coming out of the backfield too, potentially. Right? And then you're going to have to cover Gesicki. Who's taking Gesicki? Welcome to Mismatch Central. Literally, welcome to Mismatch Central. Angel, what do you mean in terms of what kind of panel? Like opening it up to the show or bringing people on? Because I am, I'm gonna have. Okay, so for those who are new here, every year what I do is before the season starts, I have a huge panel of talking heads in the Dolphins community, and we do our predictions, game by game predictions, talk about everything, et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna do I'm looking to do a pre-training camp before the vets report panel, with again talking heads out here. I'm probably gonna have Ryan Roberts. I want to have Ryan Roberts and Dante Colonelli on the show. I want to talk to them about what we can expect from our rookie class and UDFA class going into camp. That's something I've talked to Ryan about. I haven't talked to Dante yet. So I've got those kind of panels. I've got those kind of panels lined up. I haven't just with information and everything like that. I haven't decided when I'm going to open the show yet, because I'll tell you right now, the 2-3 hour shows on this channel, those will not be happening until the regular season, probably when I do the post game show after a Dolphins game on Sunday or whatever. But those long 2-3 hour shows, 4 hour shows on this channel, they are They are a thing of the past, my friends. Do you think McDaniel will give Tua the option to audible? Thomas asked. I think they're gonna have a selection of plays that they know Tua is fully comfortable with, that are going to be, yes, that are going to be, you can audible into this, you can audible into that. Yeah. Another thing too, I want I want to see that, because that's a big thing with Tua, right? Like the pre-snap reads and such. Now he's a bit better at his hot reads than a guy like Joe Burrow. I mean, that's why Joe Burrow was getting killed last year. He's better at his hot reads already than a guy like Joe Burrow, but you got to get crisper. He's got to get better. You got to get better. So I do think McDaniel is going to, Tua is going to be very involved. No, I don't mean he's going to be sitting out here calling his own plays or acting like Peyton Manning at the line, but Tua's going to be very involved. They're going to do it the right way, right? And we weren't doing this the past couple of years where it's okay, you're comfortable with this because you got Gailey wanted to just make his move with Ryan Fitzpatrick. They wanted to ride off in the sunset together, maybe win a playoff game. And then last year with what we had, they just weren't at a position where they were clearly doing that. Their way of giving him the option was an RPO when they couldn't even get the first letter of RPO right for him. Right? So it's going to be interesting to see how it works out, but personally, I think it's going to be, you're going to see a lot to it. You're going to see a lot more involvement from Tua, and you're going to see a lot. It's going to be an open line of communication to the point where we're going to hear about it. So in terms of like when they talk to the media, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think they're going to, oh, we're running this, just go. You know what I mean? So they're going to give them options for sure. You got to give them checks and alerts and all that jazz. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a more open offense in terms of communication and kind of leaning on, like, what do you feel comfortable with? Not, oh, okay, we're going to run this. You know what I mean? And that level of comfortability is already going to be known by, Darrell Bevell's going to have this locked down. I'm telling y'all, I keep telling y'all, man. That's why I'm not worried in the slightest. That's why I got these expectations. That's why I have these expectations. How many do we score at the home opener? Bro, talk to me when we get there. 305 repping in the room right now. Smash that like button. Subscribe. Ask me when we get there. Because again, if you guys are new, I'm gonna basically tell y'all what goes down. We're gonna have a full week of, when training camp picks up, I'm gonna be live 4 or 5 times a week. And when the season starts, I'll be live 4 or 5 times a week. So we're about ready to, in 2 weeks, we're going to be like off and running on this channel. So right now, this is a slow season and I'm still live like 4 times a week. So again, oh, by the way, yes, don't worry, don't fret. Tyreek's coming. I've also just been working on the McDaniel thing that I'm doing too. First time I've ever done, working on 2 at once. So those are coming. Don't worry. I'm actually going to drop Tyreek, and I'm just going to, even after the rookies report, we'll still be dropping. I'm still going to drop some all 22 studies for you guys either way, because up until the vets report, it's not like it's going to be full blown. Oh my God, the reports are coming in. You know what I mean? So a lot coming in. Can you please sign JC Treader? Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm at the point where, dude, throw a little bit of money to Matt Pilardi. Christ, you saw what he did in the outside zone in Denver, right? So, like, throw a little bit of money. What could have hurt? He loses? Okay, cool. He's a better option than Dieter right now at this stage of their careers. So what do you got to lose? And if he's good enough, you can move Connor back to left guard. So, all right, let's get into this. If you guys didn't know, 2 out here. Tua putting in the work already, ladies and gentlemen. You remember last year, the pictures came out of them at all outperform, putting in the work, and even had the iPad out, et cetera, et cetera. This year, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Coach Bird and all them putting in work with these guys. There you go. You see Tua, we got out. So now let me pause that for you, just so you guys know. I'm pausing it right now, so you guys know who's out there. Tua's out there with Lynn Bowden. All right, Chase Edmonds, Cedric Wilson, Jalen Waddle, and our new fullback Jordan Lovett, because Alec Ingold isn't healthy yet. So Lovett's out there. So you're gonna see all of them. You see the most thing, you see Lovett right there. I would not let up a little bit. I won't let out not a little bit. Ooh, I can tell you. So I'm turning that down just in case. Putting in the work, baby. Putting in the work. Grinding, man. Love it. Absolutely love that the grind is in there one more time for y'all. Love that they're putting in the grind in. Love that, man. They don't have to report for 2 weeks and they're putting in the work. And we already done seen two of them putting in the work steady. And the boys are already coming together. Let's go, man. A little eye formation jazz. I love it already. Seeing the eye, baby. Let's go. Eye of the storm. Loving it, man. Putting in that work, baby. Man, no days off. Let's go get that, man. We need that playoff berth this year, boys. Tua dropping dimes. Let's go. Love it, man. So just visual for you guys to see that Tua's putting in the work right now. Obviously, this is Underwear Olympics at the least amount of stress level, but it's just nice to see these guys trying their damnedest to perfect their craft with each other, man. And we've heard Chase Edmonds talk about the chemistry in this room, and we've heard other people talk about the vibe and the energy. They got to keep putting in the work in together, man. I love seeing every single second of it. The one thing we can say, if Tua doesn't work out, the man's tried his ass off. I do think he's going to work out. Y'all already know my expectations. He got into that top 12 realm, and I expect that of him. And he's working like he wants it, and he's working like he's going to get it. Let's just hope this all translates to the field and to W's on Sundays. That's what the prayer circle is all about right now. So, we saw it last year, them all putting in the work. We're seeing it again this year. New receiving core. We saw Matt Collins was out there last year, Albert Wilson, all those cats. Now the new guys are out there. You see Chase Edmonds already getting with them. And I love seeing the fullback out there. Like, that's when they're really taking it serious, huh? Yo, we got to get Lovett out here. Ingold ain't ready. We got these eye formations we got to run. And if you got them, if you're walking around, if you're living and you're breathing and you're human, check your motherfucking pulse right now, baby. Check it. Let's go. I cannot wait. And back to that question earlier, asking about if this offensive line can give 3 seconds, bro. I need that offensive line to go from 32nd to 18 to 22nd. If it falls in that 18th to 22nd overall range, we're gravy, baby. I ain't asking for 3 seconds. I'm asking from 18 to 22. Fall in that range overall. You fall in that range overall, we win in football games this year. And we win in a bunch of them. So that's why I keep saying, again, like last year, I said it before last year started. I'll say it again this year because, yes, we've added 2 pieces, but the depth hasn't really improved overall. This offense is going as far as this line will take them, period. And that fault. So the coaching better get these guys correct, because at some point you're going to have to lean on your depth. At some point, like, please, every deity that exists, give me all of our starting five being healthy from day one till after we win a playoff game. Hint, hint. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. But the realistic Jordan, see, that's the optimistic Jordan sitting right here. Right? The optimistic reason sitting right here. The pessimistic reason, or let's call him the realist reason. So we got the real reason right here, then we got the realist reason right here. And he's sitting there saying, we're going to have to lean on someone. Even if Armstead stays healthy, good chance we're going to have to lean on someone for another game or two. I mean, that's just, we're all fans. We saw when we had Pouncey and Brandon Albert. We can go back the last 10, 12 years. We've always had to lean on depth at some point. So, and we're in the same boat. This offense is going to go as far as that line takes them. And hell, that doesn't mean they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, we could have a shitty line, but everyone else on the weapons and Tua and the running game just click and get it done, even though they have a crappy offensive line. But then you get to the playoffs and we get knocked out the first round because our offensive line just gets utterly exposed. I mean, that's a possibility. I'm not saying the offensive line, if it doesn't come together, we're just going to totally be crap, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we're going to go as far as the offensive line takes us. If that's a playoff berth, but then getting exposed in round one, there you go. Who's the reason sitting on the mic, Reese? That's just reason right there. That's just reason. Shout out to the homie Oos, though. I believe he just sent a $10 donation. He said, the big kahuna always keeping it real. Alofa Zeus Reeves. Appreciate you, Oos. Thank you, man. And that's from Memphis, Illinois. Appreciate you, man. I hope I never butcher your name when I always say it. Ish the Human is 110% correct. We need Kellen Deesh to hit. And I think he will. We need Kellen Deesh to hit. That's who we need. We need Deesh, whatever you want to say. We need him to hit. I believe it's Deesh. We need him to hit. If he hits, I'm okay with our depth at tackle. Because here's the realistic, and I keep telling y'all this. So when it happens, I just want y'all, oh shit. That's why I keep telling y'all this. Man, based on history, we got to at least count for 2 or 3 games that we're not going to have Teron Armstead. Now that could change. I hope it does. I hope he's healthy for all 17. I'm just playing the averages right now. So that means we're going to have to lean on whoever loses the right tackle job, i.e. if Eichenberg is at left guard and the right tackle job is between Greg Little, Kellen Deesh, Austin Jackson, and Robert Jones, the runner-up is going to be stuck at left tackle. So we need some of this depth to start clicking here. I think you will too, though. I got faith in Kellen Deesh. I do. I really do. I like the kid coming out of Arizona. Man, I liked a lot of players on that team, man. Jaden Daniels before he transferred portal, I liked him. Obviously, goes without saying. Y'all already know. Rashad White, the running back we were supposed to take, but he went before we could snatch him. That was one of my man crushes heading into that draft. So, a good team, and Kellen Deesh is a good player. All right, let's keep it rolling. Let's get into what Ryan Clark had to say. He had some pretty strong comments regarding Tyreek Hill. Kind of ripped into him a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. So this is from yesterday, and Dolphins legend Jason Taylor, who has ventured into college coaching, has decided to keep one of the two Dolphins announcing jobs. Taylor will remain CBS WFOR 4's analyst on 3 preseason games, working alongside play-by-play man Steve Goldstein. But Taylor, because of time restraints, is relinquishing his Dolphin radio analyst job. The WQAM is going with a 2-man booth instead. So let's get into this right here. So Mike Garofalo's NFL Network report Friday that the Dolphins and tight end Mike Gesicki haven't engaged in talks for a long-term contract isn't surprising. We've already talked about this on the show, right? The Dolphins haven't shown much interest in that, at least to this point. The deadline for players with franchise tags to sign a long-term deal with their current teams is Friday, and he's set to make $10.9 million. And unless the Dolphins suddenly change course, they appear interested in seeing how Gesicki fits into McDaniel's offense before committing big long-term money. And you're also going to have to the Wilkins factor, right? You're only going to be able to probably pay one of those guys. Here we go. Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill received criticism on ESPN this week after he said this on his It Needed to Be Said podcast last week. And this is the quote from the podcast. He said, in the NFL, they only give you like 2 or 3 years to be a successful quarterback, especially if you're a first-round pick, Hill said. And if you don't succeed after those years, then it's kick rocks, man. So basically, they put Tua into that. It's basically his last year to show people what he's got. Though Hill has praised Tagovailoa all season, ESPN analyst and former NFL safety Ryan Clark, among other ESPN talking heads, said Hill shouldn't have voiced that view. Clark said he believes Hill was simply trying to draw a bigger audience to his podcast by talking about quarterbacks and was trying to motivate TV networks to re-air the clip. Podcaster Tyreek Hill, great job. Teammate Tyreek Hill, that's a very dumb move. Be a little bit more aware, but your podcast is being talked about now. NFL Live host Laura Rutledge, who covered Tagovailoa for several years in Alabama, said she knows that unlike some quarterbacks, Tagovailoa does not respond well to being talked about like this. So you can see they're trying to pile on him a little bit here. And Ryan Clark, I mean, you're calling it a dumb move, bro. Who are you to say what this man says is a dumb move? All right. What is he saying? Listen, let's read the quote again. In the NFL, they only give you like 2 or 3 years to be a successful quarterback, especially if you're first round draft pick. And if you don't succeed after years, then it's kick rocks, man. So basically, they've put Tua Tagovailoa into that. It's basically his last year to show people what he's got, bro. What is Tyreek Hill saying that's wrong? He's talking about the media and the people in the NFL. Tell me where he's wrong. He's saying all of you did it. He's not saying he's doing that or he feels that way. He's saying y'all did it. So to come out here and to say teammate Tyreek Hill, that's a very dumb move. Do you think Tua doesn't know this? You think him and Tyreek haven't had this conversation? Tua knows what time it is. Why do you think he's working so hard? Why do you think I'm showing clips of him in early July working out weeks before training camp starts and getting players from the offense together? So, listen, I'm kind of getting sick about the whole, but your podcast is being talked about. You ever thought, and Louis Riddick will tell y'all, you ever thought maybe he was just being, I don't know, real? So he found Barry Jackson says he found it interesting that Mel Kiper said he could make the case that the Jets are potentially the second best team in the AFC behind Buffalo. Mel Kiper, bro, I don't know whether you're staying in the tanning bed too long. I don't know whether that pushback on the half of your head to where your hair goes out like you're the Doc from freaking Back to the Future. I don't know whether that's getting to you. I don't know what's going on, Mel, but you need to put the crack pipe down, my friend. Teron Armstead's 3.8% Pressure rate allowed over the last 5 years ranks seconds among qualifying left tackles, behind only David Bacchiardi. I'm just saying, Terran Armstead, that guy, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. If Trent Williams comes to San Francisco washed up and everyone's out on him to the point where he's only a 3rd and a 5th round draft pick, that's all his value is at that point. And then now he's in the Madden 99 club. And he had all the tools when he came to San Francisco. What do you think Terran Armstead's going to be, who doesn't have that injury? I mean, he has an injury history, but we're not talking like cancer here, and we're not talking about his play hasn't fallen off. We're talking about one of the best pass run blocker combo tackles there is. Guy's going to be in the 99 club in a year. More player reaction on McDaniel, with training camp set to open in this was 16 days as of yesterday, and this is talking about when the veterans report. Gesicki said, funny dude, I had a meeting with him and it went well. Just talking with him just about everything, the atmosphere in the building, the guys, the locker room, everything. So he's awesome. It's been great, and I'm excited to play for him and work for him, and everything I can earn his trust for some big-time opportunities coming up this fall. Offensive lineman Austin Jackson said, I really like his personality, his approach. The confidence just kind of reeks out of him, pours into how we as players operate. He's got a great plan. He's doing a great job of getting everybody to buy in. Right now, we're being deliberate in our approach and how we train. He's emphasized that. Man, I'm going to tell you this right now, Michael Gesicki. You're not going to be having issues last year where you're walking up to, making a big play and running over to Brian Flores and saying, see what happens when you target and you target me and throw me the ball. That ain't going to be happening anymore, because this ain't going to be an offense meant to go to one guy. Gesicki, I'm telling y'all. Tyreek Hill motivated for 1,400 to 1,500 yards because he wants to show everyone Patrick Mahomes didn't make me, I make quarterbacks. Jalen Waddle just gonna, the guy put up over 1,000 yards when he was the center focus of not only our offensive game plan, but the defense's game plan. All right. You got Cedric Wilson, who was buried behind Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz emerging. Now he's gone up like one spot, right? He doesn't have 3 guys in front of him. He only has 2 guys in front of him in the receiving core. I'm not counting the tight ends there in that statement. So he's bumped up a spot, right? So Lynn Bowden looks like he's going to solidify that for. Stop. I'm just saying, this team is the weapons that are available, and you look at it, it's like, Gesicki could, because of what Waddle and Tyreek are going to, is it really unrealistic to put 1,500 on Tyreek, 1,200 on Waddle, 850 on Gesicki, maybe 400 on Chase Edmonds, right? Maybe another 300 on Lynn Bowden, maybe another 300 on Durham Smythe, because he's been upwards trajectory every year. I mean, what are we at already? You know what I'm saying? We're easily, I didn't even calculate. I just started rifling off numbers, and we're already at 4,000, and we've only named like literally 5-6 guys. And one of them was a running back, and 2 of them were tight ends. Right? So it's real. And then Cedric adds another 600, 700 yards. I mean, this thing, let's realistically think about this here, okay? Waddle and Tyreek Hill can account for 2,500 yards alone between the 2 of them. All right, all purpose. Okay, so then you move forward. Let's say Gesicki puts up 700. Now we're at 20. Now we're at 3,200. We haven't even accounted for 300 or 400 from Edmonds out of the backfield. 200 for Smite. Now we're already closing in on $4,000. I mean, what I'm sitting here and saying is, the plethora of weapons at Tua's disposal, you're every time you sit here and you try to think out the yardage, it just keeps going up and up. There's an endless amount of possibilities here in yardage. It's crazy, man, when you actually think about it. Like, this is like very, like, because we can put 13, 14, 1,500 yards on Tyreek because he's done it more than once. You know what I mean? Like, and the guy's performed with lesser talent than Patrick Mahomes. People forget this. Like, we have some of the most explosive playmakers and athletes at the position on our team. It's crazy. So it's legit crazy. All right. The Athletic, so this is behind a paywall for y'all. They came out with this article, and they said, can Tua Tagovailoa become an elite QB? The Dolphins are about to find out. So this was Araf Hassan, and then I believe Nate Tice and Mark Schofield also contributed. It's been a rough couple of years for Dolphin fans, in no small part because of the volatility surrounding their franchise and their quarterback. Yet the fans are engaged, especially those who are part of Tuanon, a group that ardently defends struggling young quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. One Tuanon premise is that Tagovailoa has essentially been sabotaged, intentionally or not, by the nature of the Dolphins' offense and its supporting cast. If the group's theory is accurate, that's huge. The quarterback quality in the AFC is arguably the best it has ever been, and the AFC East once again plays a central role in that. The Bills' Josh Allen is among the favorites to win MVP this season. The Patriots' Mac Jones last season was runner-up to the Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase for Offensive Rookie of the Year. My biggest whiff ever, Jamar Chase. For the Dolphins to compete in the division, they'll need more from their starting quarterback, who was the 5th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Tagovailoa started 12 of his 13 games last year and went 7-5, yet he ranked 24th out of 33 qualified passers in both yards per attempt and adjusted yards per attempt, which takes into account touchdowns and interceptions. He ranked 19th in both passer rating and adjusted net yards per attempt, which accounts for sacks as well. That has produced an output per play of 0.062 expected points, ranked 20th among quarterbacks last year. While it's not bottom tier performance, it is fairly alarming in a tough division and conference for the position. So it's a big chicken and egg question. Was Tagovailoa's offense unique because he was a limited quarterback, or does he simply appear to be a limited quarterback because his offense is unique? And now with the arrival of new head coach Mike McDaniel, how might things change for Tua Tagovailoa? Miami offense the past few years specialized in the run-pass option, or RPO. While this innovation has received a lot of airtime, the actual mechanics of the play are often misunderstood. Announcers will sometimes identify, I see it all the time, standard play action plays as RPOs, forgetting the choice element inside the play and how it changes play design and offensive line assignments. An RPO is simply a play where the decision to run or throw the ball is made after the snap. Again, you're not telling them the truth. That's actually made pre-snap, my friend. That is made before the snap. So whoever wrote this, no, that decision becomes before the snap. All right. You watch the linebackers, you watch the safeties. Simple, easiest rule of thumb. Too high shell, I'm running down your throat. Right? One high, you move someone up into the box, I'm throwing against you. The advantages, and that's not even taking, and then now that's not even taking account to the linebackers. So, no, that's wrong. Pre-snap. The advantages are easy to see. Defenses don't know what the play is until the last moment and are made to be wrong with every read. If the defense plays run, then the offense passes and vice versa. NFL teams often incorporate RPOs by adding one or two such plays, like a bubble screen or slant, to their normal offense. It's difficult to find an offense that can be generally good at RPOs in a meaningful way. But the Miami offense catered to Tagovailoa's elite execution of RPOs. The Dolphins have run more RPOs than any other NFL offense over the past 2 seasons, with more than 15% of Tagovailoa's passing attempts coming out of the concept last year per PFF. His success rate in yards per attempt rival elite quarterbacks in RPO situations. A big part of that is because Miami's RPO game is diverse. It's willing to throw bubble screens, flat routes, slants, hitches, short posts, wheel routes, and even pump and go deep shots on occasion. This has resulted in a more complete and integrated offense than most uses of the RPO in the NFL. But a quick passing game is often a short passing game. The relationship between time to throw and average passing depth is intuitive and somewhat strong. Over the past decade, the average passing depth of faster than average throws is 1.5 yards shorter than the passing depth of other throws. Tagovailoa's time to throw in each of the past 2 seasons was 2.42 seconds, which is faster than 90% of the quarterback's season times in the data set over the past decade. His passing depth in those seasons was also shorter. 2021, it was shorter than 90% of those seasons, while in 2020, it was shorter than 80%. Being the best at RPOs in the NFL might not mean much. While Tagovailoa averaged more yards per attempt than most of his contemporaries in RPOs, that amounted to only 7.10 yards per attempt over 2 years. That's better than his yardage on non-RPO attempts by a bit over half a yard. Only Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson have done better on RPO attempts. But it's a fairly weak trump card for Tagovailoa. Compared to other skills some top quarterbacks have, it's surprisingly modest. Offenses have to be diverse by nature, so a quarterback specializing in a specific throw or tactic must have a high ceiling on that skill for the offense to lean on it. But the RPO can't be that because it's a pretty impotent ace in the hole. There are limitations to what can be accomplished through the scheme, said Mark Schofield, a former college quarterback who's now a writer for USA Today. The players and coaches on the other side of the football are good at what they do as well, and over time, defenses and defensive staffs can start to figure things out. I mean, you saw it happen to Waddle, right? As Benjamin Solak wrote last season, when the Dolphins tried to make the whole offense out of RPOs, defenses began to adjust over time. That puts stress on what the offense can do and whether the quarterback himself can expand the playbook. The problem isn't that Tagovailoa was good at RPOs, but rather that the Dolphins' offense couldn't function on non-RPO plays. Whether that's an issue with Tagovailoa or something else is an important question. Watch our offensive line, bud. The Dolphins had the worst pass blocking line in the NFL by a number of measures. ESPN's pass block win rate, which measures whether an offensive lineman executed his job regardless of pressure, pegged Miami as the worst line in the NFL in 2021. It had the lowest PFF pass blocking grade by a decent margin as well. Yeah, one of the lowest pass block. Dude, the only reason the one of the lowest pass blocking grades like since they've been grading them, the only reason the Dolphins allowed a lower pressure rate than any other NFL team is because Tagovailoa got rid of the ball before the pressure arrived. By contrast, when Jacoby Brissett played for the Dolphins last year, he had the highest pressure rate of any quarterback in the NFL. Tagovailoa also hasn't had the world's best receiving corps. His yards per attempt improved in 2022 on both RPO from 5.71 to 7.76 and non-RPO 6.33 to 6.61 after the team added just Jalen Waddle. The offseason trade to bring in Tyreek Hill should help even more, and so should Cedric Wilson. See, that's what happened. Jalen Waddle was the only weapon. Schofield said because they got away from Gesicki. Schofield said that under McDaniel, Tagovailoa will enjoy the benefit and offensive system that we have seen prop up quarterbacks through both run and pass game elements. Offenses in the McVay-Shanahan coaching tree have turned both Jared Goff and Jimmy Garoppolo into Super Bowl quarterbacks. In particular, it will draw on concepts Tagovailoa executes well, and specifically his traits that set him apart from other quarterbacks. Tagovailoa, for example, might be one of the quickest decision makers in the NFL. See, Tua has a higher ceiling than Goff than Goff and him as passers. So I don't know what they're talking through about right there. My whole thing there is my issue there is, and I'm not saying he's going to be an MVP, and I'm not saying he's Matt Ryan. You need to compare him more to Matt Ryan's ceiling and ability to thrive in this offense. Okay, Tua can make throws that Jared Goff and Jimmy G just can't make because of his accuracy. I don't know what to tell you. And so you need to look more at Matt Ryan, right? Look at Matt Ryan before Calvin Ridley came. He never threw for 4,000 yards, right? McDaniel and Shanahan come. If you include the regular season and the postseason, he threw for almost 6,000 yards between the Super Bowl run and the regular season. Shanahan and McDaniel, he's never enjoyed that. He won the MVP and he's never had a season like that before. So now, do I think Tua is going to throw for 6,000 yards this year? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, when you look at what they can do in this offense, it's more so stuff they were doing. Let me put it this way. There's stuff they took out of their playbook when they went to San Francisco because of Jimmy G and they didn't have Matt Ryan. That stuff they took out, they can insert back in. McDaniel can insert those concepts back into the playbook now that he has Tua. That's just what it is. Tua has a higher ceiling than Jimmy G. People, go watch Jimmy G. He's not that good. So he gets through his stuff real quick, said the Athletics' Nate Tice, another former college quarterback. I've always wondered if that's a bug or a feature. Is that because he knows to go through so quickly, or is he guessing? I've been trying to figure that out. I have no idea if Tua is a smart quarterback or a dumb quarterback. Like, who says that? You put that in an article? Like, who says that? I have no idea if Tua is a smart quarterback or a dumb quarterback. Bro, why leave it at I've been trying to figure that out? Like, this quote here is so extra, it's unbelievable. Tagovailoa does make his fair share of mistakes going to his third or fourth read and misses out on opportunities early in the progression. It's true, but he's often right when he declines the first read, and he's faster than most other NFL quarterbacks in making that determination. Bucky Brooks, a former NFL scout and current contributor to the NFL Network, thought the trait was an apt comparison to Drew Brees. The play action element of McDaniel's offense is important, even when excluding RPO dropbacks, something that often counted as play action from the sample. Tagovailoa has extensive experience with the concept. Last year, he ranked 11th in percentage of dropbacks that came from non-RPO play action. Also, which is going to be a lot of play action in the West Coast, right? Not RPO specific, but play action. Also, many of the skills necessary for good RPO passing are assets in the play action game, from ball handling to quick half-field diagnosis. But experience doesn't mean skill. Tagovailoa's depth of target on play action passes, even when excluding RPOs, ranks 31st amongst his peers. His accuracy helps him, but he caps his own potential there. Again, the context matters of the weapons and the offensive line, right? He's got to push the ball, Tice said. Just be more aggressive. Not everything has to be underneath. In addition to his limited deep ball rate, Tagovailoa's unwillingness to throw over the middle of the field was also a concern. And you see right here, you're going to see the more red, the above average frequency. Blue means below average frequency. So you see the middle of the field was very blue, right? Loved throwing to his open side. You'll see right here, right? Loved throwing to his open side. McDaniel's offense, predicated in a big way on enabling yards after the catch, typically attempts to find those yards on the middle of the field throws. Yet, Tagovailoa's EPA on throws over the middle is bottom 5, Tice said. It's the same as Hurts, Carson Wentz, and is just above Big Ben. He doesn't like attacking over the middle. Tagovailoa also hasn't been particularly impressive under pressure, even accounting for how he was under assault in the pocket. Tagovailoa had one of the worst PFF grades under pressure at 35.1, ranking 34th of 40 quarterbacks. His passer rating of 54.8 under pressure ranks 32nd. While Miami must reduce the pressure of Tagovailoa, he nevertheless needs to improve in this area before the Dolphins offense can really take off. One of the biggest problems was fumbles. Tagovailoa ranks 6th in fumbles per touch. And then more stable measures of quarterback play look even worse for Tagovailoa, including performance in a clean pocket on standard dropback passes. He ranks last in yards per attempt, 25th in expected points per dropback when compared against 31 other qualifying passers. Even when attempting to find other elements in which he may have been unlucky, like an abnormal drop rate, contested catch rate, turnover-worthy play rate, and so on, we won't find anything hinting at a looming big boost in performance. If anything, Tagovailoa should have thrown more interceptions than he did. Already a big problem for the quarterback, unwilling or unable to make big plays. And that turnover rate should increase if he does in fact get more aggressive throwing downfield. The best statistical tools tell us that when minimizing the problems presented by his receiving corps and offensive line, Tagovailoa still performs among the worst of his peers in the league. It very much appears as if the RPO-centric offense is a crutch. Now, it's not all negative. Tagovailoa has good accuracy, and it shows out in a number of ways. His completion rate above expected, which accounts for throwing depth, ranks 13th amongst NFL passers. While adjusting for drops, throwaways, spikes, and batted passes, he ranks 18th. He also ranks 12th in Pro Football Focus's accurate pass rate, which looks at the rate of passes that are better than catchable. They're thrown in a way to protect the receiver, maximize yards after the catch, or otherwise do more than simply land on target. This trait translates for quarterbacks more than any other. An accurate quarterback tends to be accurate from season to season. If the Dolphins can find a way to expand Tagovailoa's game, that accuracy will be a big asset. It's possible the Dolphins improve their non-quarterback offensive positions more than any other team in the league this offseason. Knowing their offensive line issues, they signed former Saints tackle Terron Armstead, as well as former Cowboys interior offensive lineman Connor Williams. They may also be expecting a leap forward in development from Liam Eichenberg, last year's second-round pick. Third-year player Robert Hunt was perhaps Miami's best offensive lineman last year. In addition to year 2 with Waddle, the team gained Cedric Wilson, a free agent acquisition from Dallas, who played to the talent of a second-year receiver despite being third on the depth chart. Running backs Sony Michel, Raheem Mostert, and Salvon Ahmed are also familiar with the concept of McDaniel's system. But even all of that won't be enough to ensure success. Last year, Browns couldn't make an offense with OBJ, Jarvis Landry, the best running back group in the league, to work with Baker Mayfield despite a high-level offensive line. On the flip side, we saw how switching out Jameis Winston for Tom Brady impacted the supremely talented Buccaneers offense. The Rams jump-started their offense by trading out Goff for Matt Stafford, winning a Super Bowl in the process. Behind the scenes, Tagovailoa won't be dealing with coaching chaos. The Dolphins have had a rotating cast of offensive coordinators in recent years. Off-field turmoil led to head coach Brian Flores firing and the resulting lawsuit. Tagovailoa found himself on the bench for injury or performance reasons somewhat regularly, interpreting his ability to develop chemistry. A more stable coaching environment with an inarguably better supporting cast will mean the world for Tagovailoa, but it won't matter unless he takes a step forward. It's less about reducing negative plays and more about making the positive plays that really count. Counterintuitively, Tagovailoa needs to be more comfortable making negative plays more often and taking chances to ensure his positive plays have an impact. The odds seem low that he can accomplish that, but his fellow height challenge quarterbacks provide a template for success. Breeze learned to slide between offensive line viewing windows to find optimal throws over the middle. Russell knows when to scramble and when to merely extend the play, all while avoiding hits. And Kyler Murray trusts his receivers in contested situations downfield. Tagovailoa has been hampered by his environment, but his own issues are also holding him back. While there are some statistical methods that showcase reasons for optimism, there are just as many or more indications on film and in the data that he won't be able to take the next step. But among all the quarterbacks who struggled last season, Tagovailoa has more tools in the toolbox with which to work and make a leap. So they're negative for the whole time, and then they say, but among all the quarterbacks who struggled last season, Tagovailoa has more tools in the toolbox with which to work with and make a leap. So then all of a sudden they get positive. But there's something I want to point out here. This quote right here. I read this article to basically come here. Now, we get a, objective. We show both sides. But while there are some statistical methods that showcase reasons for optimism, there is just as many or more indications on film and in the data that he won't be able to take the next step. Now, let's go right in here. There are just as many or more indications on film. Where's your film, Arif? You didn't even properly explain how a quarterback chooses between the run and the pass with an RPO. Where's the film? You showed no film. This was literally just a piece of taking all of the negative statistics. This was a statistic-based piece. This was not a film-based piece. So why are we talking about film here? Because I can show you film that gives you a lot of hope and optimism. And I could tell you didn't watch the film. You just dove into the numbers. And you're using the numbers to make your argument. The numbers that you didn't provide a ton of context to. You mentioned here and there about the receivers and the offensive line. But, you didn't get into how bad the offensive line was in front of him. You didn't get into how bad the offense was after the catch or after contact. You know, it's a very statistical, nitpicky article by The Athletic. But the one thing I will put them on blast for is you're bringing up there's just as many or more indications on film. Show them, bro. Because I'm going to tell whoever this Arif Hassan guy who covers the Minnesota Vikings to begin with, I can show you just as much or more film that give you optimism and hope that Tua is going to take the next step as what you can bring to the table saying that he's not going to. That's why no one knows his ceiling yet. So, you know, don't start mentioning film when this was clearly a statistical nitpick article. And then after all of that nitpicking, statistical nitpicking, you say, but among all the quarterbacks who struggled last season, Tagovailoa has more tools in the toolbox with which to work with and make a leap. So, I mean, you go figure it out. You just, 10-minute read just for you to say, well, he still got all the tools to make the leap. Unbelievable stuff. Man, they need someone on that Miami beat out there, eh? Jesus. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Sorry, I had to call that out a little bit there. So I had to call that out. Sorry. I'm still gonna read all the articles to you, but let's go into what Louis Riddick said. Now, someone who has a lot more, this guy's been interviewed for GM jobs here. So I'm gonna play this. Remember, hey, if you want to help out the channel, donate if you can, because we're rolling down that potentially demonetization F. So let's play this. I got his segment from Get Up, and then I think I got a segment from First Take. Let's see what Louis Riddick had to say.
He said is we give up on quarterbacks after 2 or 3 years if they're first-round picks.
Talking about the
they can go
Tyreek
kick
Hill
rocks,
quote.
whatever else it is. So there is that level of pressure on the young quarterback right now, yes?
Yeah, there's no question about it. Look, we do it in the media. As soon as people do not instantly give you the return on investment that you think that they should, we systematically start to tear them down and say, well, they need to find someone else. Well, they need to go and find another young quarterback and find someone else with a bigger arm, bigger upside, someone who just shows that they can get it right out of the box. And look, I think with Tua, we lose perspective on, what he was dealing with from an injury perspective when he came into the NFL. I think we lose perspective on maybe the dysfunctional relationship between him and the coaching staff while he was down there. We lose perspective on the just absolutely atrocious offensive line and lack of weaponry, lack of run game surrounding it. No, I know people say, well, when you're the fifth pick overall, you don't need all that. You need to be able to transcend all that. And you need to be, as Chris Canty says, the force multiplier and make everyone else better. Well, sometimes we overuse that phrase in terms of can you make it? You can't make offensive linemen block better. You can't make running backs run better. You can't make wide receivers faster. And I'm not saying that some of the onus isn't on him, but I'm telling you, this football team right now, I will say this, though. This football team, with the additions that they made on the offensive line, starting with Teron Armstead, Connor Williams at offensive center, with Jalen Waddle, with Tyreek, there's no question that this is a lot of pressure on this young man this year, and they are adding to it. But look, that's just the way it goes in the NFL when you're the fifth pick of the first round.
Yeah. How do you see it, Canty?
I see it the same way that Lewis does. The organization has eliminated all the excuses as to why Tua can't get it done. But to Diana's point about teammates putting pressure on him, look, there's going to be internal and external pressure based on the expectations that the Dolphins have. And if Tua folds under that, then he ain't your guy anyway. So I don't have a problem with Tyreek Hill coming out and stating the obvious, because the reality is the Dolphins have not one but 2 first-round draft picks next year in a quarterback-rich draft. As many as 6 guys going in the first round is what's being projected. So, Tua better get it done, and if he doesn't get it done, then he's going to be out of a job, and Chris Grier ain't going to be that far behind him, because guess what? Chris Grier is the GM that passed on Justin Herbert in order to draft Tua with the 5th overall pick 3 years ago.
Go ahead, Lewis.
And how about this? Maybe, just maybe, Tyreek and Jalen are telling the truth.
Yes,
maybe
Lewis.
they do really like what they
them.
see. Mm-hmm. This guy was the 5th pick of the first round. Okay,
yes,
he was lighting it up down in Alabama and throwing the football, and we were all sitting there going, "Man, this kid can play." So it's not like all of a sudden we're talking about some bum or some scrub who all of a sudden just duped his way into the top 5 into being a top 5 pick in the first round. He earned that. He deserved being drafted where he got drafted. Now, what happens is when you have a guy like Justin Herbert who gets thrown into the fire out there, in L.A. on a moment's notice and all of a sudden just takes the world by storm. I'm like, look, then all of a sudden the comparison's going to get thrown out of whack because people are going, you need to be like that guy. You need to be living up to expectations like that guy has. But maybe Jalen and Tyreek are telling the truth. We're going to see.
Tua is one of 3 high-profile quarterbacks to come out of Alabama. There was Mac Jones and Jalen Hurts, who, of course, finished his career at Oklahoma. So, Lewis, I'm going to ask you this. Welcome back. Which former Bama quarterback will have the best season?
Yeah, this is a loaded question. But you know what? I'm going to go probably with the unpopular choice, and I'm going to go with Tua. I think he is going to have the best season for a number of different reasons. One, I'll just start off with what Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are saying. I don't necessarily believe that they're lying. I don't believe they're just supporting their teammates blindly. I think they really like what they have seen so far from Tua. 2, remember where Tua comes from. Remember what Tua did when he was at Alabama and why he was drafted 5th overall. He's a damn good quarterback. 3,
yes, sir,
I love
Lewis.
the coaching staff, Mike McDaniel's approach, both philosophically based on what they did out in San Francisco with the run and play action passing game and the RPO game. And I also like how he has already struck a whole different chord with Tua from a relationship standpoint that clearly him and Brian Flores just didn't have. They just didn't. And you know that the reporting coming out of there is the fact that those two really weren't on the same page, so to speak. Tua didn't feel necessarily supported by Brian, and maybe Brian thought that they needed to go in a different direction. Nevertheless, I think you're going to see a guy who's playing much more free and relaxed mentally because he knows he has the support of the head coach behind him, and he knows that the message coming from that play caller is going to be very consistent. It's rooted in great fundamentals. It's coming from a system that is tried and true in the NFL, and I think he's going to play with much greater confidence.
God. Oh, man. Between Lewis Riddick and Dan Orlovsky, I don't know who I love more. Oh, just spitting absolute facts. I mean, this is a guy... we're talking about one of the best football minds in the media, guy who's interviewed for GM jobs, a guy who will get a GM job eventually here. And you see what he's saying, man. He's naming all the stuff we continuously talk about ad nauseum, and everyone tries to label it as excuse when I keep telling y'all, and I know a lot of y'all agree with this. Context is not an excuse. Context has never been an excuse. Context is why this happened this way. The who, what, when, where, why. Context, baby. Context always matters, right? You look at statistics, tackles at tackle numbers at linebackers. Context matters. I don't care. You got 120 tackles and 80 of those are 4 or 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. I don't care about those 80, 90 tackles. They've already got half a first down. You've probably been disengaged and had just you couldn't shed the block. You couldn't play through traffic. You just had an easy out. So context matters 110%. And everything Lewis Riddick just said was so on point. So on point. And the fact that he thinks out of Hurts, Mac Jones, and Tua, that Tua is going to have the best year this year, let's go, baby. Check your pulse wherever you are. Pulse check. Let's go, man. Let's go, baby. So, article here, I wanted to go over something out of. Barry Jackson came out with this. He said every Dolphin fan should root for McDaniel, but here's a Sean Payton update just in case. And Barry Jackson said this is the only time he's ever going to talk about this. So he said, earlier this year, the Dolphins were prepared to give tens of millions of dollars to Sean Payton to become their coach if everything had aligned. They hope they won't need to think about doing that again, but if they do, they likely would face stiff competition. According to a source close to Payton, he was flattered by Miami's interest in him to become their coach this season, but also preferred to take a break from coaching in 2022. And he's talking about Mike Florio now here on Pro Football Talk. Though a report indicated that Miami offered him 5 years and $100 million, a team source insists that offer was never made because, like I kept telling all y'all, the Dolphins were never granted permission by the Saints to speak with him after they requested permission, and because the Dolphins did not want to do anything that could result in tampering charges and the loss of draft picks. So that's why I told you the whole Brady-Sean Payton story, that's bullshit. Okay? I'm telling you right now, the play they were making behind the scenes was Harbaugh and Brady. Okay? I got confirmation from someone a coach in the NFL 3 days before the Flores lawsuit hit that Harbaugh was in on the Dolphins job, and this was a coach who's a friend of Harbaugh, a personal friend, that had spoken with him that Harbaugh was in on the Dolphins job and that he thought he was going to get it. And when you hear the Brady Payton thing, no. It was Brady Harbaugh. That's what it seemed like they were working on. Anyways. And he says Pro Football Talk reported that Payton was approached by the highest levels of the Dolphins organization above general manager Chris Grier's head, but that is nothing that I have independently corroborated. There's no evidence whatsoever that Miami tampered. Grier has said the matter was dropped after the Saints denied permission to speak with Payton. Now, let's be clear. The Dolphins and the fans all hope Mike McDaniel is a rousing success. Here's an easy guy to root for. He's smart and innovative. Players rave about his intelligence and relatability. The Dolphins are going into the season optimistic that he will be a long-term solution, and I'm intrigued by the possibilities. But the Dolphins will have at least a chance next spring if they make a coaching change and again pursue Payton, that close associate said. The source, emphasizing that Payton would never lobby for a filled job, said Miami is among the teams that would interest him, and he knows that firsthand. But the associate said he could also see Dallas and the Chargers among other teams that would interest Payton should their jobs become open. So what exactly is Payton looking for? The associate said warm weather, a roster good enough to compete, most importantly, control over personnel decisions. Having a good quarterback would be helpful, but that isn't number one or number two factor, the associate insisted. On a much lower scale, the close associate said he would prefer to work in a market where he could golf some, work, though his work ethic and long hours largely limit those opportunities to the offseason. So if the Dolphins disappoint in this season and pursue Payton, owner Stephen Ross would need to give Payton complete authority. That wouldn't necessarily be an issue. Grier, who has done good work this offseason, but hasn't built a roster that has been able to win a playoff game, has no ego compared to many in the game and would likely defer to Payton if given the opportunity to work with him. It's unclear if Payton would prefer his own handpicked general manager serving as a number two behind him on personnel decisions. A source with direct knowledge confirmed former Miami Herald colleague Armando Salguero's report that Payton spoke to an assistant coach about the Dolphins job earlier this offseason, just in case he ended up deciding to take it and in case the Saints granted permission for Miami to acquire him. Pro Football Talk said the Saints wanted a first-round pick in return. The Cowboys are considered likely to pursue Payton if they part with Mike McCarthy, but the control issue is something Dallas would need to navigate. So it goes on here, and it's just talking about how it just continues on about the whole, gets into the Brady thing, et cetera, et cetera. I just wanted to basically show you guys that, first of all, I don't think they're going to move off a coach after year one. That'll send bad optics through the NFL if you don't get Sean Payton, right? You need to lock it in or you got bad optics. And then, I think he's going to end up in Dallas personally. So, we'll see how it plays out, but I just wanted to show you guys that report that Pro Football Talk put out. They never offered any money up into Sean Payton. That was really why I wanted to just show you guys from that. That was the takeaway I wanted you guys to have from that. All right. Now I could see the Chargers for sure, 110%. If they move off Staley, but I doubt it. Smash that like button, become a member and a Patreon. Best Dolphins content on YouTube. Appreciate you so Florida. I hope your wife enjoyed The Godfather, bro, and keep trying to talk to her about Scarface. Hope she enjoyed The Godfather though, my guy. Try Hard 7. I'm assuming Tyreek is going to continue the podcast during the season. Do you see it as a distraction? Love the idea of him breaking down every game. I don't see it as a distraction, no. It looks like they get together, him and his buddies get together and they record it. You know what I mean? I think Jordan Poyer is the next episode he has coming out, right? This week. I don't see it as a distraction. I mean, Coach McDaniel's got the Coach McDaniel show now. We'll get into that in a sec. Touchdown Wire. Touchdown Wire. They came out with a list of the NFL's, and this is from Mark Schofield, who was just in the other article. They came out with the NFL's top 12 outside cornerbacks, And they said there are countless things to do in sports that are difficult. Hitting a baseball is certainly one of them, as I've been reminding my players all summer long. Another, playing quarterback in the NFL. You have some of the world's best athletes sprinting towards you, trying to juke you out of your cleats, and you are expected to match them stride for stride? Sure. And heaven forbid you have any sort of contact with them. Otherwise, you'll see more yellow than Heinz Field during a Pittsburgh Steelers game. Despite the odds, there are some incredible quarterbacks in the game today. Here's a look at the best outside quarterbacks in the NFL today. So at 12, they have Trevon Diggs. And then, like he actually provides film, right? Already they got Patrick Surtain at 11. Patrick Surtain the second at 11. Marlon Humphrey came in at 10. Which, I can't hate on. Denzel Ward at 9. Little low for I think Denzel's a stud. Tre'Davious White came in at 8. Marshawn Lattimore came in at 7. Stud. Another stud. I definitely think Darius Slay came in at 6. Another another absolute stud ever since. And then they have Xavier Howard as number 5. And what they say is this: for the past few seasons, Xavier has been among the top man coverage cornerbacks in the NFL. His 2020 campaign put him in contention for Defensive Player of the Year honors as he finished 3rd behind Aaron Donald and TJ Watt. The reason? Howard posted a league-leading 10 interceptions. While he did not produce at the same level a season ago, Howard remained a lockdown option in man coverage for the Miami Dolphins. He posted 5 interceptions a year ago, along with 16 passes defended. When you think of man coverage steals, one of the phrases that comes to mind is a cornerback's ability to run the route for the receiver. If you want to see a prime example of that trait, watch his interception from last season against the Carolina Panthers. While his penchant is man coverage, Howard also produced when tasked in zone coverage responsibilities. Want to see a cornerback bait a quarterback into throwing a flat against cover 2? Watch his interception of Mac Jones from their last game in the season. Pick 6 starts before the snap. Howard shows Jones zone leverage before the play with his hips open to the middle of the field and his eyes on the QB. But right at the snap, Howard snapped towards the receiver to get the jam on him before sinking him with the vertical route, or so Jones believes. Howard peels off the vertical and traps the out route from the slot receiver, stepping in front of Jacoby Myers and generating the turnover. A perfect play and a touchdown for the defense. If you guys want a reminder, here's the all 22 of the play. See, you see the hips open right there, and then he cut underneath. Boom. Look at that. See those hips open before the snap? Beautiful stuff. Takes it to the house. Number 5, though, you did this man dirty. Number 5, though, I don't know about that. So who they have behind him? AJ Terrell. No way, no hell, no chance. Did it for 1 season. Stop it right now. AJ Terrell. JC Jackson. You can make an argument. I think I'll take our boy X over him, but you can make an argument. Jair Alexander, you can make an argument. And then their number 1 corner, obviously Jalen Ramsey. I'm gonna take X over Jair Alexander. I'm gonna take X over JC, and I'm gonna keep it, keep it a buck. I'm sorry, AJ Terrell over. I'm sorry, my friend. I can't get down with that movement. I'm sorry. I just can't get down. AJ Terrell. Are we serious right now? AJ Terrell is great. Don't get me wrong. The guy entered the top 12 conversation after last year. But, he's not better than X. Let's stop. AJ Terrell is good, man. He had a great year last year. But he ain't better than X. Let's stop with the foolishness. All right. And then finally, guys, for all of you locals that I'm so jealous of, the Miami Dolphins and CBS 4 announced a multi-year renewal of their media partnership as the official home of the Miami Dolphins. The relationship will feature an extended lineup of exclusive content, including the Coach Mike McDaniel Show, Dolphins Weekly Live, the 5th quarter post-game show, and the Fish Tank. CBS 4 will also be the exclusive home for special post-game shows, and 2 weeks of nightly reports from Dolphins training camp. In addition, the Dolphins will partner with Bailey Sports on a new program taking fans inside the team this season. Bailey Sports will also re-air preseason games and the Coach Mike McDaniel show. That was actually going to be the name of my post-game show. So that's crazy that I see that they're using that. So, and yeah, so I mean, the Coach Mike McDaniel show, guys, set it up. Set it up. All right. It is going to be right there. It is going to be 11 a.m. Kim Bocamper returns the host. I might still rock with that post-game show name because I've been planning it for months. That's crazy that they took it, but whatever. The Coach Mike McDaniel show. I actually kind of shook about it. The Coach Mike McDaniel show. Y'all need to be tuning in on that if you're local. I'm jealous of you guys. I'm gonna be looking for a feed my damn self. I'm gonna be looking for a feed my damn self. You guys got the goods out there. I am jealous of each and every one of you. All right, guys. Still 440 of you in the room. Go ahead, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Help a brother out. Help me with my friend Al. Algorithm. You already know what time it is. Here's the deal, man. I'm gonna be live either tomorrow or Friday. And then I'm gonna be dropping that Tyreek Hill film study as well. So we're gonna be doing some content for y'all. I'm looking at getting together a pre-training camp panel. Hopefully I'll get that together for next week. I'm looking at I've already talked to Doug. Doug's in. So I've already talked to EM. EM's in. So I just got a couple other heads I got to chat with. It'll be the usual cast that we always rock with. If you guys are always, if you guys have noticed Fin Too Deep as well as The Finish Line, my audio podcast with Neil Driscoll and my other one with Richmond Webb, they've both been on hiatuses. They're about to come back in the next week or so. So be out on the lookout for new audio content coming from your boy. A lot of content. We're about to ramp up here as we get closer and closer to training camp. I can't wait. You smell that? That's football. That's football in the air, baby. That's what that is. You feel that? That's excitement running up and down the line, running up and down your spine. You check that? That's your pulse out of control, baby. I'm super, super hyped for this season, man. Absolutely can't wait. And I just honestly can't wait for y'all to share in it, man. It's going to be a good season. It's going to be a good season for us, hopefully, for us all to embark together on, man. And I'm just glad all of y'all are down for the ride, man. Having, at one point we had over 450 people in the room today. We actually had almost 490, I think, at one point today. Almost 500 people, in the dead heat and the void of, not a lot of news right now. I appreciate all of you for constantly coming out and checking and just supporting me, man. It means y'all don't know how much it truly means to me. It means a ton. So, and now we're about to enter revenge season. We got a lot. Tyreek out here. He wants the revenge for all the people doubting him. Tua out here. He wants revenge for all the people counting him out. Jalen Waddle wants revenge for all the people forgetting about him because of the additions we made. Man, it's going to be a big year. It's going to be a big year. And I'm excited to share it every moment and every play with all of y'all this year. It's going to be exciting, man. It's going to be a good time. Listen, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out. Be out on the lookout for me either tomorrow or Friday. Hell, if enough news breaks, I'll be back on both days. But be out on the lookout me. Same Dolphin time, same Dolphin channel right here, Phinside The NFL. Look for me around 8 p.m. I appreciate each and every one for coming out, man. Love all of y'all. Even the haters, you just make me get better, right? So I will see y'all on the next one. You already know what time it is. Said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it till I take my last breath. Fins up all day, every day, baby. Love y'all. See y'all in the next one.